You're listening to Jeremy Vaeni's Paratopia vlog, right here on YouTube. Paratopia! It's Jeremy Vaeni. Well, the time has come when I finally release my brand new book, Urgency, with a period, as opposed to I Know Why the Aliens Don't Land, with an exclamation mark. See how it changes? It's like, ooh, I was being jokey, and now I'm being serious. I guess I'm gonna shill for it now, shamelessly, and I don't mind doing that, which is a first, because when I did I Know Why the Aliens Don't Land, I felt really awkward going on radio interviews and the few TV interviews I did. And even with my movie, No One's Watching, I felt, similarly awkward promoting. Self-promotion isn't really my thing, even though, that's what I do, right? I mean, arguably, that's what a podcast is, and that's what you have to do when you self-publish, and that's what you have to do to get your name out there and all that stuff. But I still have not ever really been comfortable with it. And as proof, rarely have I advertised anything of my own on Paratopia, or even Culture of Contact, for that matter, when I was doing that podcast. Or Book of Toth, when I was doing that podcast. It's always about the guest. It's always about the show. It's never about my own work. I shouldn't say never. It's rarely about my own work. But this, I do feel, is important, and I'll put that in quotes, because I don't want to get too self-serious. I feel like it's Urgency is a good book whose time has come, or I guess it's not a who. I'll edit that out later. And it's, in terms of ufology and that sort of veneer that I wear, it's Jumping the Shark, because it's completely a book of spirituality. And I consider it an antidote to New Age and to religious jargon and all-around general, I want to say wrong-headedness, but really I think at this point neuroticism, because I think when you try to tackle the unknown, or the unknowable, as these sort of giant spiritual topics appear to be, and we see this with ufology as well, right? In terms of the unidentified, and perhaps unidentifiable, we don't know. You start to make up things about it. You start to make up answers that feel good to you, and then because that's ultimately a lie, because that's ultimately a belief system, and a belief system is a lie if it is based on nothing, then you defend that lie. You hunker down and you defend that lie. And we see this, again, with ufology, where people build up, belief systems around their favorite topic, disclosure, aliens from the Pleiades, whatever it is, little gray doctors running around, creating hybrids, all of that. And we see this with religion, right? Everybody believes their favorite text, their favorite prophets, and they hunker down. And if you are born into such a system and it doesn't feel right to you, you maybe switch systems, or you give up systems, or you turn to the New Age, which offers tantalizing bits of what you've found in those texts, but recontextualizes them in a way that sounds like you're more in control, or there's more freedom, or whatever. And where does that stuff come from is one question. All of the religious and New Age stuff, where does it come from? And where can it possibly lead you to? Well, it can lead you to your own self-fulfilling prophecy. That's all it will ever lead you to. Where it comes from is everything from charlatans to crazy people to actual guru types, actual spiritually, we'll put enlightened in quotes, enlightened people. My mantra, and it's the mantra of the book, is one eye open is still half asleep, which means that even on their best day, these spiritual gurus only have one eye open. And so they see more of what's in the room, but they contextualize it into the dream. And as a result, they end up selling you a partial picture of what enlightenment is. And, I think I think the problem is they try to sell it to you, right? And so my analogy in the book is the butterfly. Say the butterfly is the guru. The butterfly is talking to the caterpillar on the ground, and the butterfly knows what the caterpillar doesn't know. And the one-eye open people know this as well as the two-eye open people, let's call them, which is that you've got to get the caterpillar into the cocoon, which may be gross and sticky, but ultimately they've got to come out and be butterflies, right? Have to do this, or else the entire species dies. And isn't this weird? I don't know if for you subscribers who listened to Jeff's and my after chat a couple of weeks ago, where I was talking about this this vivid dream DMT hallucination scenario that was going on with me, where basically I was told that we and the alleged aliens are part of a continuum species, and I didn't know what that meant, but now I'm thinking about it, and isn't that exactly what this is? That basically, we are one, we're our own separate selves, and our own separate species, in quotes, and yet we're part of the same exact thing, part of this continuum. I didn't know what that meant, but I'm reflecting back on it now, it's like, duh, it's the butterfly analogy all over again, which is, you've got the caterpillar species, which is human. You've got the butterfly species, which is other. And they are not just symbiotic, they're the same thing, right? If one falls, the other falls. At least in terms of, if the thing on the ground falls, if the base of any structure falls, the rest of it topples. It's not true that if you take away the top of a structure, the bottom crumbles. And so it is with this continuum species, where the caterpillar on the ground, if it dies, the butterfly dies. If the butterfly dies, the caterpillar still exists. So if any of that is true, and I'm not saying it is, but if it is true, then that makes complete and total sense of why they would bother with us in the first place. But I digress. You can just keep this purely human to human level here. If you've got people who wake up to their butterfly nature, who wake up to that freedom, and part of that freedom, which is the oneness of all things, let's say, if part of that freedom in knowing it is also knowing that it's never going to completely be free until every caterpillar is a butterfly. In other words, somehow the butterfly is tethered, it has more freedom, it has a richer existence, but it is somehow tethered until such time as everybody catches up. Then it's incumbent upon the butterfly to go, hey, wake up. It's one waking oneself up, right? Which is what I've been saying since I wrote I Know Why the Aliens Don't Land. So getting back to these guru types and prophets and religious figures, they sell you on a system, right? And so the system is usually, at least in terms of the New Age and even from what I can tell, Indian, by way of India, guru types, sell you on the fact that you can fly, right? It's like, come upgrade, come get this thing that you can now be. It'll be a self-improvement. When, in fact, what they should be telling you, because it's true, but is not something that you can sell very easily, is, no. You have to do this or we all die. You have to do this or eventually it leads to extinction. That's just it. So either you stop being a caterpillar or you go extinct. One is physical death and the other is persona suicide, right? The cocoon, changing your sense of self and your form. Now, I'm not saying that we humans will necessarily change our form, but just as the analogy. Inwardly, you do change. You have a persona change, and you understand things differently, and information comes to you differently, blah, blah, blah. So, the point is, I feel like now, and I think Jiddu Krishnamurti did this long before I'm about to try, but I think now is the time to once again, I guess, reiterate, put out there in a new language for people who speak like I do, crazy like and Gen X-y and whatever, people who say whatever a lot, to put it back out there and say, to really nail some specific points, as many as I can, about what these, the answers to these allegedly unanswerable questions, to put all of that out there in the hopes that your rational, materialist, reductionist mind will collapse, will be like, okay, I see all of these answers and now I'm done trying to figure it out, or I'm done trying to apply my own answers to it. I think if you give your brain nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, maybe, just maybe, that sparks the thing. That sparks the cocoon weaving around you. That's my hope anyway. Will it work? I don't know. But I'm definitely not selling you an upgrade, and I'm not selling you on the fancy flight. I'm just telling you it's do or die time. So get with the program. Which is a harder sell, but maybe not, because I feel like we're all feeling it, right? Hence the term urgency. And it's not necessarily there to scare you, because that's the other problem. You can't cajole people into this, because once you have a reason that you're doing it, then that reason becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Whether that reason is the guru selling you flight and you want to fly, or, you want to get to heaven, or, or you want to save the species from extinction, or you want, whatever that is, it's the you wanting, it's desire, it's you, that is the problem. So I'm going to try to throw that out there in this book in as many ways as possible. It's repetitive, but I don't think it's boring, because I think I couch things differently in different chapters, and so you're not going to yawn. But, we fall into the trap here where there's really only one message, and there's only, and you're just saying it in a bunch of different ways, right? Because you have to, because it has to sink in on multiple levels, you see? So the message is the one message, but it can't just be comprehended rationally. It has to sort of like sink in, and you have to break through that rational barrier first for it to sink in. I don't know. It's an experiment. And here's hoping it works. So, that will be Urgency, Jumping the Shark, on March 29th. Read it at your own peril. I don't care for you to just... my goal as an author here is not to just give you something to read and be interesting. For most people, that's what it will be, if you don't think it sucks. There's that option. But if you don't think it sucks, then you'll read it and you'll be like, oh, that was really interesting. That added to my body of knowledge. Or that was really interesting. This guy's a con man. Or whatever you feel about that. I think you'll get something out of it. I just think it'll be completely unfortunate if it doesn't change you. But again, you can't read it with the intent of being changed. See, it's a very tricky thing. But it's all explained. I mean, I feel like it's almost a magic act that is being explained as it goes along, right? It's like nothing up my sleeves, and now here's the fake thumb that the scarf goes in that I'm going to magically pull out of my hand, and you're going to be wowed by. That's how that all works, okay? So I'm going to explain all of the magic tricks so that you're not tricked as we go along at all. And the trick is that process of explaining everything changes you. We'll see. Anywho, that's my little spiel for now. And until next time.